Do you think that you know the worst mythicals in the game? Put them in the comments right the heck now so that I can verify that you are right or not. What's up, guys? MtgJedi here. How you doing today? Okay, well, you don't have to put a comment there if you don't really want to, but you know you want to guess the 4 worst mythicals in the game because I don't think you're right. And I'm sure that the thumbnail says you don't know who the worst mythicals are in the game. You don't know. At least you don't know all 4 of them. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. All right, so here is the thing. Every mythical in the game should be really good. They should all be usable. They should all be good. There should be no feel bads when you come over here and you finally get a mythical champion. No feel bads, okay? However, that is the case with some mythicals right now. And I'm going to save the worst mythical for last because I don't think you know who it is. I don't think you know. And so we're going to count down 4, 3, 2, 1. And I feel justified and valid with covering this material because I've done a lot of account takeovers using almost every mythical in the game. Not to brag, I'm seriously not bragging, okay? But I do have a lot of mythicals as well. So I've used them firsthand on my account as well as in the takeovers. So I think that this is a reasonable take, okay? Obviously, let me know if I'm wrong. You can politely tell me I'm wrong, but you have to say why I'm wrong. You can't just say I'm wrong. You have to say why am I wrong. Okay, and then the other thing is, if I don't cover one of the mythicals that you really were looking for, I will link at the end of the video my video where I covered every mythical in the game. I think that's really helpful and valuable. So if you want more information on any of the mythicals, I'll have that at the end of the video. All right, so jumping right in, let me tell you the 4th worst mythical, and that is going to be a shocker. I think that it's Alaz. Now, previously, Alaz was an absolute beast in Hydra, and the changes to him have just made him not very good. He's still usable in his front side in Arena, but like his second form seems like it would be good. It's just not good. He's got these weird buffs and healing stuff, and I mean, I guess if you are able to build him with HP burn, like to activate this, so he has a lot of accuracy, then you might be able to like flip him, do this ability, and then after that flip back to kill them. But I don't know. I just don't think that his kit goes really well together. And with how this ability works on Hydra, he's basically unusable now in Hydra. So then that leaves his only potential as maybe Live Arena or maybe Classic Arena, something like that. You can let me know if I'm wrong on this one, but I just think that he does need a tweak to bring him in line with every other mythical. The 3rd worst mythical in the game is, and maybe she should have been, I don't know, her stock went up just a little bit because of how good she is in hard mode faction wars, and that's going to be Geral. I mean, Alaz is going to be an absolute beast in hard mode faction wars too, so I guess that's not really a differentiator here. I will say that Geral's front side with this passive seems great, but in practice, I always just flip her into the damage mode because it's better to just kill things than survive, right? Especially with the trials in hard mode faction wars. Most of the trials are either complete control of the waves or kill them. And so both of those is going to be Geral in the team doing damage. You can use her on her front side, but I just haven't found it to be good enough. I actually think it's okay, but it's not great. And they certainly do not go together whatsoever. I think this might be the most mismatching kit of all time. especially because when you build her for damage, it actively detracts from the other side. Like, you're putting ally protection. She's gonna take more damage, but she's squishy. And she's getting a shield, but it's 30% of her max HP, which is gonna be super low. So, I don't know. I think Geral's pretty bad. I love her. She always has a special place in my heart because I loved her in Hydra before they made the changes. But as of right now, I think she needs some big, important fixes in order to bring her to the power level of the other mythicals. All right, the second worst mythical. I'm going to guess that you knew this one. If you got any of these correct, I'm going to guess it was this one. Fiorad, wildly regarded as the worst mythical. And I'll be honest, if at the end of the list, when you see who I put as the worst mythical, if you're like, Fiorad, no, he's way worse, I'll be like, yeah, okay. I could be convinced that he's the worst mythical. The reason why I put him at number 2 instead of number 1 is because of this A1. This A1 is actually reasonable for hard Fire Knight. It's a 4 hitter, right? It hits 4 times because he's gonna get the freeze, but they're not gonna be frozen, the Fire Knight, right? And then here he does have the increased speed, decreases the cooldown of all ally skills. Like, that's a pretty cool combo. Then his A3 does the decreased speed and the freeze, and it gets an extra turn. So he really cycles through his turns well, but I just don't think he's quite good enough for hard Fire Knight. Like, he's certainly not as good as Newt, right? And I don't know, maybe he's better than Geral, the free legendary. Maybe. It's a maybe, okay? But then his second form, what are we doing over here with the second form? We're not killing anybody and blocking a revive with this. We're not killing anybody with this, even if we place an extra hit. And we're definitely not killing anyone with his A1, okay? I do want a copy of this dagger for my personal belongings. But other than that, his stupid face is not helping you out on this form. If you're going to use him in hard Fire Knight, okay, maybe that'll work on the first form, but the second form, complete and utter not goodness. So I would say that he's the second worst mythical in the game, which means who is the worst mythical in the game, okay? And before we move on, we have 693 reviews, and they are really bad. So if we're going strictly off of reviews, he would be the worst, but obviously a lot more people have him. Yeah, obviously a lot more people have him than the other mythical that I'm gonna say is the worst. So that's what's contributing to him being the worst. Okay, with that being said, the worst mythical in the game is an utter disappointment right now, and that is Fireheart. Like, 5 people in the world, okay, 32, are actually at a point in hard mode faction wars where they've beaten it and they've gotten her and can do a review on her, okay? And here's the thing, right? Her first form is supposed to be a damage dealing form. And I've watched, I think, all the videos that have come out on her, and she's just not doing good enough damage. If you go watch Drock's video on her, she does do okay damage for him, but you have to remember he has insane, ridiculous, busted gear. So if we're gonna try to get our gear on her eventually, I just don't think that she's gonna be comparable. Maybe once you're able to beat hard mode faction wars, your gear is good enough that she would be okay. Maybe. But I still think she needs some multiplier tweaks. Just a little bit more damage. Not a lot, just a little bit more damage. And then, I don't know, her flip side seems awesome, but also it is completely different. At least she benefits from building defense and attack. So, on both forms, so that kind of works well together. The debuff can't be resisted, so you don't really need accuracy on her. This debuff can't be resisted if they're under HP burn or freeze. So as long as you're strategizing with your team construction, you don't need accuracy on her. But I think the passive is really good, and I think the flip side here is pretty good. But I just don't think that this is a champion that's like worthy of the effort you are putting in on hard mode faction wars. It's just, you're not worthy of it. And so hopefully Plarium will buff her so that we can say, oh yes, all of this effort was well worth it. Okay. I am still working towards getting her. I am. However, I don't think that the effort is worth the reward at the moment. So I've rated her as the worst mythical in the game. Did you guess it? Let me know if you guessed this correctly. And if your mythical wasn't on this list, you want some more information about them, my other video will be popping up on screen somewhere here in the next minute. So go ahead and click on that and transition over to the next video. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope this was helpful, at least for some clarity about worst mythicals in the game. And hopefully Plarium takes this as a sign to buff these guys and get everybody to a reasonable level, because every mythical should be good and usable. You agree? I'll see you guys in the next one.